Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 10 taboo questions in the USA. Never ask these questions. Will these be questions that are genuinely taboo within the US, or maybe they're taboo throughout the world? I don't know. We're going to see, because I don't really know what sort of questions would even be here, but I'm assuming maybe it'll be stuff relating to jobs, or maybe like political questions, or I don't know, just stuff around that. But we're going to see, hopefully going to enjoy, and yeah, let's jump into this reaction.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com. Be careful what you say. Let's talk about it.
Here we go.
When you have conversations with people from other cultures, it's really important to be respectful of that person's culture. Of course, when we're talking with people from our own culture, we should be respectful too. But it's a little bit more complicated when we're talking with people from different backgrounds.
It's so red.
Because maybe you don't know which topics are acceptable to talk about or which topics are taboo. Taboo means that if you talk about that topic in the wrong context, people will feel really uncomfortable. It's inappropriate, it's just not polite. So today I'd like to help you learn 10 questions that you absolutely should not ask in American culture. These topics might be okay if you're talking with someone who you're really close to, but that's not really the situation that we're talking about here. For this lesson, we're gonna imagine 3 situations. Number 1, you run across someone that you know at the grocery store. Don't ask these questions. Or you are talking with a coworker in the office. Don't ask these questions. Or maybe you're going out for coffee with a new friend or a coworker or someone you don't know that well. Don't ask these questions.
Okay.
Let's go to our first topic in question. Topic number 1 is...
What's it going to be? Let me guess. It's going to be, don't ask someone their... Oh, I can actually see politics. I knew I was going to get to politics. I guess don't ask someone who they're going to vote for.
Politics.
Oh.
The main questions that you should not ask are, who are you voting for?
Bosh, nailed it.
Or who did you vote for? So this just depends when the election was, if it was in the past, or if it's going to be in the future.
Also with this, I guess let me know in the comments whether this is actually true or not, because I guess it depends from person to person. I don't think if you ask someone this, you're going to get weird looks. But again, it depends on the person. Maybe the person doesn't give a damn. Maybe the person's really involved in it. So, yeah, it depends who you're asking.
Even though this year is a presidential election year in the US, and if you turn on the news, you'll see so much information about this, we don't really talk about our personal voting choices unless it's with really close friends. On the other hand, Americans love bumper stickers and yard signs. So you might see on the back of someone's car, Biden,
adult.
Or on the back of someone's car, Trump, or a sign in someone's yard that says something similar about who they're voting for. But even if someone has a bumper sticker or a sign in their yard, they probably don't want to debate you about who you should vote for or who they're voting for. Usually this is still considered an inappropriate topic to ask about. Topic number 2, family.
Thinking that would be it.
Are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Are you pregnant?
I don't think in any country in the world you're going to ask someone, do you have kids? No, sorry, you would ask that, but you're not going to say, why don't you have kids? Actually, maybe you would. Is that really a rude thing to say? I don't even know if it is a rude thing to say. I mean, as long as you're not being like a dick about it and you're being polite, if you don't have kids, why not? Yeah, it's a general conversation. But if you're like sort of asking it in sort of like a demeaning way, then yeah, probably anyway that wouldn't be allowed, or not allowed, so it wouldn't be very nice to do. But are you pregnant? That depends on the context. If they're looking a bit chunky, maybe don't ask that. But if they are looking pregnant, then ask that, I guess.
These topics are considered personal, especially if it's somebody who you've just met. I know that these types of family questions are considered no problem in other cultures, but in the US, these are personal and sensitive. Imagine this situation. Someone really wants to have kids and they've been trying to have kids and they can't. Or maybe they had a miscarriage, which means that they were pregnant and then the baby died. This is a really sensitive situation, and if you casually ask them, oh, why don't you have kids? Or when are you going to have kids? This really touches something inside of them that's hard to talk about. So unless you are a really, really
But I don't think that's really an American thing. I guess this is just maybe us. Maybe her audience are from places that maybe this would be a common thing to ask. I think in general, this probably wouldn't be a thing you'd say unless you. No, I don't know. I've never spoke to someone and said that, but maybe it's more like of a female chat. I don't know, female to female. Maybe that's a thing that females will talk about. I'm not sure. I don't think it's necessarily a nasty thing to ask either, though. But who am I to say?
close friend, I recommend not asking, are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Just as a little notice, especially as someone who recently had a baby a couple months ago, never, never, never ask a woman if she is pregnant. Do you know what this means? This means your tummy is visibly big. Well, they could be pregnant, but what if they're not?
Oh, God.
What if they're just a little bit overweight? Or what if they just had a baby and they still have a little...
I'm just imagining a situation where someone actually does that and then they say it, are you pregnant? And they're actually not. Just imagine how awkward that would be.
tummy.
Oh,
Well,
God.
this could be a really uncomfortable situation. I saw a funny quote once that said, never ask a woman if she's pregnant. Even if she is actively in labor, don't ask her until you see the baby. Maybe this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you ask someone, are you pregnant? You better be 100% sure that they are pregnant. And it's a little bit safer to let them bring up this topic anyway. Maybe if you're having a conversation and you see that they're probably pregnant, wait until they say, oh yeah, I've been feeling really tired lately, or I'm feeling the baby's kicks. Okay, now it's a safe topic. Our next taboo topic is sexuality. If a man mentions something about his boyfriend, or a woman mentions something about her girlfriend, do not ask, oh, are you gay? This is the 21st century. It is not shocking, or it should not be shocking, when someone is gay. Just a little quick note, if a man or woman says, my partner, talking about the person who they live with, this doesn't always mean that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean this, but it could just mean that they are in a committed long-term relationship. Sometimes if you are living with someone and you are committed to them, you don't want to call them just your boyfriend or your girlfriend. In this way, it's a little bit casual, it's not so serious.
Fair.
So if you are in a same-sex relationship, or if you are not and you just aren't married, well, you could call them my partner. So if you happen to be talking with someone and they say, oh yeah, I need to call my partner and ask them about this. It doesn't mean necessarily that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean that, it might not. But in any situation...
Is that a general thing that people thought? I just thought partner was just saying the person that you're with in a relationship. I never really thought about it that deep, to be honest.
It's not polite to say, oh, are you gay? Just take it in stride.
The way
Our
she
next taboo
says
topic is religion. I don't recommend asking, do you go to church?
What?
Or saying, don't do this. It's a sin. Even though the US has a reputation...
The first one, do you go to church? Is that rude? Is that a taboo question, really? I mean, I've never asked it to someone, but is that really a taboo question?
For being potentially more religious than some other countries, it's still not considered acceptable to ask someone what their religion is. Now, Americans will sometimes mention, oh, after I went to church, we went to the park. Something about going to church, and it's acceptable to mention it yourself, but not really to ask someone else about it. Where I live in the south of the US, it's generally more religious place, but that's because the majority of people are Protestant Christians, so they expect that everyone else has the same religion, which, is not quite realistic, but, that's the mindset. When my family first moved to the south of the US, the maintenance man who was installing our refrigerator asked my mom, have you found a church yet? We were shocked because in the north of the US, this is not common to talk about. It's not expected that you would go to church, and it's especially not expected that you would ask someone about this. So even if you're in the south of the US and someone asks you, I don't recommend you asking yourself because it's a little bit less acceptable. Our next taboo topic is race. I don't recommend asking, where are you really from? Especially when someone is obviously from the US. The US is such a diverse place. People come from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of
Where are you really from? That's such a funny question.
types of heritage. Even if it was their great-great-grandparents who moved to the US, a lot of people.
But what if you asked, like, what's your background? Where's your, what's the term? Not yet. What's it called? I can't remember. What's your background? What's your, like, family lineage or something? I guess I can't really think of the term. If you're just saying where are you really from, I get that. That is a bit of a wild thing to say. But it just sounds so brutal.
People have different looks, different backgrounds, different cultures, but they are still all American. This question often gets asked to my Asian American friends. So, for example, I have a friend who, when I first met her, I thought, oh, she looks Korean. But she didn't have any type of accent. She seemed completely like someone from the US. So I didn't really ask her, are you Korean? That would have been a little bit rude and presumptive. So instead, I just didn't say anything. I didn't even ask her, what's your heritage?
There's nothing wrong with that. Really? Is that really? I mean, I guess some people it's from person to person. I enjoy sort of learning about people and seeing, like, obviously this isn't like just a general conversation, but friends I've known for years, I wonder, like, I don't know where they're from and all this stuff. Obviously these are conversations that happened in the past, but I get this question specifically, like, where are you really from? If someone's genuinely, like, born here and all that stuff, that is a bit of it's just a bit of a funny question. Just the really on top of it, where are you from, or where's your family from, or like something like that. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. Really from is sort of like you're saying they're not from the US or the country that they're living in, that they were born in, because it's just a very specific way to say it. But I don't think there's really problems asking. Maybe if you're just first meeting someone for the first time, I guess possibly. I don't know.
This is a slightly more polite question, but only when you're talking about your family's background already. So instead of asking her this, I just thought, it doesn't matter. Why would I need to ask this? And one day when I was at her house, I saw a little picture or painting on the wall with some Korean writing. And I said, oh, cool, I used to live in Korea. Have you been there? I saw that picture in your kitchen with some Korean writing. And she said, oh, my mom was adopted from Korea. This type of situation is extremely common in the US. My friend has pretty much no cultural connection to Korea. Her mom has almost no cultural connection to Korea too, except that she lived there when she was very, very young before she was adopted. So if I had asked my friend, hey, where are you really from? Are you from Korea? She probably would have felt like, I don't belong here. This isn't my home, but really it is. She is American just like anybody else. So this question can make people feel pretty uncomfortable. I personally recommend waiting until they mention something, or just don't worry about it. Don't ask about it, and if they mention something, cool. If they don't, go with the flow. Our next taboo topic is money. I don't recommend asking, how much money do you make? Or how much was some kind of expensive item, maybe like a car.
How much was your car? Really? Okay, I don't know. Again, person to person, I don't think the general thing would be like, that's a rude thing to say, or that's a taboo thing to say. But how much money do you make? Maybe in the first base conversation, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I've not really asked any of my friends what they make. But my friend who graduated uni, he's starting to be an actual dentist now. Of course I asked what he's going to make. He's just finished his uni degree, but that's probably a bit different. He's my friend and all that, to be fair. But I guess it depends. First time meeting someone, probably very true. You don't ask this stuff.
Sometimes people will add this expression, if you don't mind me asking, before asking about money. I did this a couple weeks ago when my neighbor hired a babysitter, and I was curious how much she charged or how much the babysitter charged to watch her kids. I didn't really want to directly ask her, hey, how much money did you give the babysitter? So I asked, if you don't mind me asking, can I ask how much she charged.
Come on, you can ask this in any way and it's not going to be a problem. If you're asking someone about your babysitter and how much it cost, I don't think you have to be that specific. I mean, look, this is a very polite way to say it. And I guess, yeah, obviously be polite about it, but it doesn't matter how you say the second part. I was just wondering how much it costs or whatever. No matter how you put it, it's fine.
This is very indirect. I'm asking her
For me,
about
I mean, I don't know.
the purchase
Maybe
of
she's right.
potentially an expensive thing, some babysitting services, but I'm asking her in an indirect way. When I hired that babysitter, I could say, well, how much do you charge? This is very direct. It's fine. This is a business transaction. But when it's someone else who's making that purchase, it's better to use this expression or just not ask at all. We never really ask, how much money do you make? Talking directly about personal income. Yeah, it's not really a popular topic or a comfortable topic. Our final taboo topic is appearance. I don't recommend asking, are you feeling tired today? Oh, you look tired. Are you feeling okay? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Not acceptable. If you're really concerned about someone, maybe one of your coworkers is looking a lot more tired than usual, or maybe you realize that they really lost a lot of weight and you are seriously concerned about them. We don't talk about this in just casual passing conversation. Instead, pull them aside or talk with them privately and...
Wait, this is just taboo questions. This isn't even meeting people for the first time. I've just realised that. This is just general questions and conversations. I mean, if you're like really good friends with someone and you say to them, did you lose weight or did you gain weight? Not necessarily like that, but just sort of say like, maybe you've noticed that they've lost a bit of weight or something. Is anything up or something like that? There's not really anything wrong with that. But I've never had those conversations personally. I just feel like, if anything, you're watching out for them. You're looking out for them. Obviously, it depends how you say it. If you say to them, "Oh, you're looking quite big. Have you been eating a lot of food recently?" That's probably not the best way to go about it either.
With a lot of care in your heart, you can ask them, "Hey, I'm a little worried about you. You look kind of a lot more tired than usual the last couple days. What's going on? Are you okay? Did you notice the tone of my voice is very serious? This is not casual conversation. You're not just asking because you care.
She's an actor.
Instead, you are very serious and you are telling them personally. So make sure that if you ask these questions, it is in the correct context with someone who you really care about, not just in passing. A little special note, talking about appearance, especially for men directing comments towards women, I don't recommend saying something so direct as, wow, you look really beautiful. This is usually considered flirting. If you are flirting with them and you want to ask them out on a date, okay, go ahead. But if you're just in the office and you notice, oh wow, you look great today. Be careful being so enthusiastic about it. Wow, you look so beautiful today. Instead, it's considered more polite to compliment maybe their haircut or their clothes. Oh, did you get a new haircut? It looks great. Wonderful. Or, oh, that's a nice shirt. I love those colors. This is more indirect. If you want to compliment someone's appearance, especially for a man directed towards a woman, and you don't want them to feel uncomfortable because you're just coworkers or you're just friends and you're not trying to be romantic towards them, well, you can compliment them indirectly. Their hair, their clothes, something like this. Actually, that was not the last topic. I got a little distracted because I heard my baby crying, so he's going to join me for this last taboo topic. We're going to end on a light note. Death.
Oh.
I do not recommend asking, do you think he's going to die soon? Or, I think he's going to die soon.
Oh, jeez.
This is too direct, too rude. Yes, death is an essential part of being alive, being a human, being a being. But we do not say it in such direct terms. Instead, if you want to talk about death, you can use a more indirect expression to pass away. You might say, sorry, I was gone from work last week. My grandmother passed away and I had to travel to California for the funeral. In this situation, you're saying pass away, much more polite to say. If someone says this to you, how can you react to show that you care? You can simply say, oh, I'm so sorry. Or, I'm sorry for your loss. You don't need to go on and on. Those two common polite expressions are really enough. You say it from your heart and you mean it. Now you might be wondering, if I can't talk about all these taboo topics, what can I talk about? Well, really, the possibilities are endless. You could talk about your week.
Well, here we go. Now I finally know why people start a conversation about the weather. That's so true. Are you pregnant? It's a rude question in Brazil too. I think that's probably the one question that I could be like, fully, yeah. You don't ask that to anyone. Are you pregnant? Oh man, again, imagine asking that to someone and then they're just not pregnant. That must be so awkward. If it's a taboo, if it's a taboo, then why do I get asked by Americans where I'm from always? It's super annoying. Because you might obviously, from outside the US, hint by your accent, then this becomes a proper context of where they could raise that question. I get that question sometimes, even before I speak, but the point here is, if you don't want to be asked where you're from, I mean, fair enough. If it's genuinely a thing that people don't like, then I can't really say anything's wrong with what they think, because it's them, it's their own sort of reasons, isn't it? But I would never have thought that's like a really taboo question to ask. If you're asking for the first time again, maybe. I mean, yeah, I've not done it myself, but I'm trying to think of a situation where maybe it's been done. But I couldn't really answer it myself. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Let me know whether this stuff was true or not. I mean, some of them are things I feel like you just, most countries you're not going to ask. And then some of them just seemed like things that maybe you wouldn't ask first time you meet someone. But then if you know someone quite well, you're probably going to ask a lot of these things. But who knows? But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.